personally, I will drive to Boise and wear the Nick Fuentes was right about Israel hoodie, and I will raise hell if you try to restrict the legal speech of Americans in this state and make it so that we can't have a reasonable conversation, we can't discuss these ideas. If you're going to make that illegal, you're going to have a fucking problem.
Yeah, we'll see if we actually have any constitutional protections. Before we move on to super chats, Cameron, I wanted to get a little bit of your input on what you think WEF is trying to do, and if you are we just spinning webs here, or is this really related to some larger surveillance campaign and legislation to criminalize anti-Semitic speech?
Well, you guys are scarred, and I've talked about this before. You're stuck 10 years ago, both of you, and I tried to tell you the world has changed, and you don't listen to me, you don't believe me, and I understand, I do. Time makes more converts than reason. That's what Thomas Paine said. The WEF is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Who gives a shit what they say, what they do? It's a phony baloney, made up thing, right? You said it yourself, Dave. What was all the rage a few years ago? Climate change. Now it's disappeared. These organizations are collapsing. They're collapsing because of fraud. They're collapsing because of rank corruption. They are increasingly irrelevant. Now, I understand reflexively, you're going to say, but the president of the United States, he flew to WEF, and Howard Lutnick gave a speech, and Scott Bessent, and so forth. What did we talk about at the beginning of this program? We talked about a group of influencers who have, 15 million some odd followers that went to a Miami nightclub and sort of beclowned themselves. But how did they become famous? Because they sort of chided the power structure. What's become of them? They've become rich and famous, most of them. They're not disappeared in some prison somewhere, and their popularity is only accumulating, whether you like them or not. And a lot of it is because they talked about the JQ, okay? Then we talked about Japan. What did I say? The yen is the second most important currency in the world, and it is collapsing. And what is the base layer of Jewish power in the world? It's not the courts. It's not anti-defamation law, right? It's not the ADL. It's the banking system. It's the financial system. And that system is collapsing. It's cratering. And I'll tell you further that this sort of awareness of the JQ is feverish everywhere, not just in the United States, all over the place. It's over. It lost. It's out of the bag. Now, yes, they have corrupted and they dominate the Trump administration. But the Trump administration, to be fair to the president, inherited a catastrophe. Now, Donald Trump may think in his delusional, senescent mind that all of a sudden that disaster has been fixed in 12 months. Right? All of this incredible, unprecedented war that he would have stopped. It's all better now because he's been in there 12 months. Very convincing argument, Mr. Trump. No, it's not over. None of these problems have been fixed. And these publicity stunts, they're not going to convince anybody for very long. Whether it's this distraction in Greenland, which is what it is, it's an irrelevant distraction. Who cares? Are the Chinese massing off the coast to invade Greenland? What about the Russians? No, they're looking at us like, what's happening here? This is a great power? This is the colossal leader of a power that dominates the world? No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that this is a country that's careening out of control, because it is, in large measure, because of the Jewish power structure that's lost the plot. They've lost. And you both need to start reframing and reorganizing your thoughts about this, because we need to start playing offense, not defense. And I understand what you're saying, Dave. You do need to be engaged and you do need to pay attention to these things. But here's the difference. 10 years ago, these were arcane issues that very few people talked about. They were subterranean. And the only people that really engaged in that kind of discourse were evil white supremacists. Well, now it's mainstream. And it's mainstream in ways that are palatable, that are visceral, largely because the Jews have wiped out tens of thousands of people, many of whom were innocent children. And they're waging war against Iran and anybody else they can with our forces. And this is now not conspiracy theory. This is well known. This is being talked about by probably the most important journalist in the world, Tucker Carlson, who just platformed and hosted Fishback, who was on our show. And then our show was talked about in The Nation. Yeah, maybe most of our watchers aren't, read that. But at the end of the day, this entire culture has changed. We're in a different world.
Yeah. And listen, speaking of the Donbass, speaking of the war that's going on in Ukraine,